Good afternoon, everyone. Today I wanted to come on and show you a very fun little way of making some great sort of paper mache type embellishments. They have some thickness to them. You can just add them on top of different things. You can color them with your stamps, your inks. So anyways, I wanted to come and show you how simple it is to make these cute little embellishments. I'm going to set these aside, and what we're going to do, it is so easy. We have some rubber stamps. This one is 1989 Embossing Arts Company. I've had all these stamps for a very long time. These are from Stampin' Up. This one's 2001 and 2004. They're not new by any means. These are just little foam stamps from Hobby Lobby. So it works with just pretty much any kind of rubber stamps or anything that's got dimension to it. And what we're going to use is toilet paper. Now, the thing of it that you want to think about is this is going to be like paper mache, and not all toilet paper is the same. This toilet paper is marked septic safe, and the idea behind that is the septic safe toilet paper is it's designed to disintegrate, and it disintegrates much more easily than those that are not septic safe. So that's what we want, and we're going to just tear it up in some pieces like so. I don't tear it up tiny. It's not necessarily, this one has got an embossed design on it, but it won't be there as soon as we start working with it. Now I usually pile 5 or 6 pieces together, and then what I am going to do is I am going to take my water from my Mod Podge brush. When I do something with Mod Podge, I just stick it back in this water and it rinses out my brush, and I kind of leave the brush in there. I am very bad about taking care of my brushes. I've got a little piece of wax paper just because I want to be able to move things off my table. And I'm going to take this Mod Podge water, and if you didn't have Mod Podge water, put a tiny bit of white glue in some water. It does, and it's just a tiny bit. The big thing is that we want to soak this paper, and we want it nice and wet and just soaked down. And then we're going to take this and we're going to put it on top of our rubber stamp and push it down. And I'm going to add a few more layers. The more layers you add, the thicker it gets. And kind of squish it together. Now I got that good and wet, so we can add quite a few layers. And you want to push it, and if you've got a design that's real intricate, you want to make sure you push it very well. And it doesn't have to cover the whole design, it just, because it's going to stick all together, believe it or not. It's just okay. Now the back couple of layers are not as wet, which is fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to peel this whole pile off, and I don't know if you can see, but our design is now embedded in there. I'm going to do this with a bigger, less intricate stamp so that you can see it better. But then we lay it on our little piece of wax paper and we set it aside. Let's do it with this. And we just need 5 or 6 layers. And again, we're going to soak that real well with our Mod Podge water. And this is because I wanted some embellishments, and this is my first entry into my Use It Up month. So I am using what I have and not getting new supplies. Now, I did very well last month in not purchasing new supplies, but I was not able to do the Use It Up portion of Aunt Beck's challenge. So I want some embellishments. I do not want to go spend money on them, so I am going to do the Use It Up challenge. And you can see a little bit better that we're picking up the design. Now the big thing that you have to remember is that you want to squish these together very well. That little bit of glue in there, or Mod Podge, helps to make the paper mache stay together, although I've never had one of these come apart. The only time they come apart is if you mess with them while they're wet. Okay, so we're going to pull this off, and I think you can see the design in that one a little better because it's not quite so intricate. And we're just going to lay it aside. Now, any of the stamps work. You can use any rubber stamp or foam stamp. Actually, anything that you want to make a shape from. You could actually take it and put it over the top of this square box and have a square one. Okay, so I'm going to set the stamps aside. I'm going to dry off my table. Like I said, these need to be left alone. They need to be laid on the table and left alone until they are completely dry. Once they're completely dry, you can play with them all you want. This one's been torn out. Let's see. Oh, this one needs to be torn around a little closer. And I just go in and I tear off the excess paper so that my embellishment looks like it is. And you notice I'm squishing it. It's not hard to it's a little hard to tear this off because it's thick, but it does not disintegrate. It's basically turned into one solid piece. And here's a little one, and it was really big, so we can start by pulling it all down to something smaller. And I always go with paper that's bigger because it's easier to tear this off after the fact than to try to get it to be exact beforehand. Now, if you want, you could cut this out with your scissors. And create a more defined stamp or embellishment. It looks less vintage, less worn. This one would probably be better if it was cut, so we will do just that. Now remember your toilet paper that you're using, and the reason we're using toilet paper is because it's designed to disintegrate. It makes for a much nicer embellishment. There we go. Now then, once we have that step done, we want to make them so that you can see them. Now, I usually go for the side that is that we pushed against the stamp, so the indented side, but there's always this side on the back. Let's just color both sides of that one. Let's pick a distress ink that's bright. And I have several of these distress ink pads. And I usually use my dauber to apply this ink. Now this is the back side. That I would have been pushing on with my fingers on top of the stamp. And this is the front side, or the reverse. This is what actually, this is the side that actually touched the stamp. I'll get the stamp in a second and we'll go over that again. But you see how this gives you some fun paper embellishments. Okay, the rubber stamp's right here. Okay, so this would have been upside down on here like this. So this would be technically to be the back side that I laid down against the wax paper, and this is the top side. So it's just something fun and easy to use. Let's do this little flower. Just another little embellishment for your projects. And all you have to have is a little rubber stamp. You could put the paper over a button and get a design there. You could also, oh, let me go get one. I'm sorry, I forgot. I should have brought one. I don't think I have one here. Oh, I'll be right back. You could also use a watercolor marker. And instead of inking around the edges with your watercolor marker, you can go into your design and ink in here. And of course it'll bleed out just a little bit because it is watercolor and you are working with paper. That's not my favorite way. I much prefer to do the inking. And you could ink directly if you didn't have you could use a makeup sponge. That one's a little bit, got too much on that edge. But if you didn't have a makeup sponge or an inker, what you could do is take your ink pad. Well, if you can get the lid off, and go directly onto your design. I like the softness of using a sponge applicator rather than the ink pad, but there's always those options. So that is just my first use it up project, or use what you have project. Let's try the back of this just to see what it does. So see, you can also do the back if you haven't gotten it very thick. And it gives you a different look. So one more idea for your use it up, use what you have projects. Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoy my video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your, let me zoom in and let you see those a little bit better. That's as close as it's going to let me come. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you enjoy my videos. Please do give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. You have a great afternoon.